Yeah. It's OK.
Looking fabbo.
Oh, thank you.
Fabbo, fabbo.
Thank you.
Last time we talked on this programme, you said you got the movie bug and you're off to Hollywood to find out. So what happened?
I went out there for pilot season and it was like a meat market out there.
Was it?
Yep. Queues and queues of girls just desperate to get that part and I couldn't believe it, but I actually got a part out there in a TV show, in a pilot, in a comedy sitcom, and we're waiting to see if it's going to be picked up or not.
What was it like living in La La Land for a while?
In La La Land?
Yeah,
yeah, it is a bit mad out there.
Yeah.
It is mad, and when I was out there also there was a time of the Oscars. I watched you and your daughter, yeah.
On the red carpet?
I did,
Asking people who they were?
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was so funny, though, because you do get so many people, they're taking it all very, very seriously, and, you know, and then Joan's there just making everybody laugh and asking all the questions that deep down we want to ask. So, no, it was great, and it was lonely. There were times it was really lonely. It was... a lot of it is, you know, it is what it is. Hollywood, you know, is quite fake, it is funny, but there's also a great positivity out there. Whether that's true or not doesn't really matter. It's quite contagious. And if you're going to have your dream come true, that is a place to go because, you know, they do come true out there.
But let's now talk about your latest project, which is this intriguingly entitled play for television called The English Harem.
Yes.
Where you start opposite Art Malik.
Yeah, fabulous man.
Yeah, it's a lovely story. It's about, he plays a Persian with two wives.
Yes.
And you are a young, aspiring daydreamer, basically, working in a supermarket. You get sacked for being dizzy.
Yes.
And you set your stall out to work for him. And,
yes.
And eventually you get to marry him.
I do. I'm wife number 3.
You're wife number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lovely sequence where you take him home to your parents. They live in the buildings.
They live in the council estate,
the council estate, a bit like you did when you were a kid,
most definitely.
Right, and they're fairly, as they are, rigid in their ways. And you present them with this exotic man.
Yes.
I know I'm a lot older than your daughter.
But you started going to the gym, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
And there's one other thing, and it sounds worse than it is. Sam's already married, aren't you? Actually, he has 2 other wives that he lives with, and I'll be the 3rd. We haven't made a date yet, but we just wanted to include you in our plans.
It's definitely.
Look! Ta-da!
You are adorable, isn't it, actually? It's an intriguing play, too, because it raises several questions. It addresses the issue of racism, about the way we react to people who are not like us, and it's a sad story, too, as well as being very funny.
Very.
The thing, of course, that the tabloid press picked up on was sex scenes, steamy sex scenes.
That's the tabloids for you, though. They love it. Sex sells.
Well, I couldn't wait to watch it. I have to say, because, you know, you've always been one of my favourites.
Oh, thank you.
But it's nice and it's elegant and tame, actually, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you know, it's quite sensual, and I'd never done a love scene before.
Had you not?
No, I've done lots of, you know, snogging scenes, but I'd never done a love scene before, so I was really nervous, and Art Malik was fantastic, and it was quite funny because I was nervous, and you hear about all these people having this great chemistry on set, and how, you know, there was this, you know, fabulous thing, and they got together in real life, and meanwhile, we just had people going, more thrusting, Art, that's it, that's mine. Man scratching his leg and drinking a cup of coffee, and, you know, and you're there sort of going, oh, God, I'm trying to make this look sensual. But I do think as well that sometimes less is more. You know, sometimes less is more. When it comes to really sort of doing something that's erotic, you want to tantalise and you want to tease, and sometimes that means not showing everything and leaving a little bit to the imagination. Not all the time. Sometimes you do need to show everything, but I think there are times that you don't have to.
And also, too, in a dream sequence, you're in bed, the 3 girls together.
Oh, yes. Yes, some caressing and kissing.
That's right.
And lots of people sort of saying, how do you feel about it? Are you nervous? And I said, well, not really, because, you know, all the 3 girls were all straight girls, and none of us were gay, none of us felt like anybody had a hidden agenda. And it was really comfortable because we trusted each other and we could do what we wanted to do. And it was quite funny because one of the girls went, Martine, you smell great. And one of the camera crew went,
It's favourite moment. Every man's fantasy. Who's a better kisser, he or Hugh Grant?
Oh, very different. Art Malik's very tender and very slow and kind of really sort of sensual, whereas Hugh Grant's very sort of more passionate and just sort of grabs hold of your face and never lets go, which I don't mind.
Would you rate about this?
I'm listening. It's been so long. I had a flasher open his raincoat. I thought he was giving me directions. I mean, I don't know. I'm just listening, going,
Let's talk a bit more. I said there about the racism there, which and the kind of a council state depicted in the film is the one that you grew up in.
Yeah.
First of all, when you were growing up, was there much racism in you lived in Hackney?
Hackney, yeah, Hackney Dawson. Yeah. To be honest with you, no. I mean, where we were, there wasn't. Not when I was growing up anyway, there wasn't so much what you call like an ethnic minority. There was about sort of equal amounts of everybody. And a lot of families are kind of interracial families. They're, you know, half of my family are mixed race. And it was kind of just, everybody just was so busy surviving and just trying to get through life and pay the bills. And there's lots of, you know, domestic violence and lots of, you know, bad things going on around there. And that was the last thing on anyone's mind. If anything, everyone just used to pull together, which sort of sounds ideal, but we had other problems. That wasn't one of our problems. Not that I came across anyway.
No. Speaking of that domestic violence, of course, you've talked to me before on this show about what your mother went through with your father.
Yeah.
And she's since, indeed, last time you were on the show, she's written a best-selling book about the abuse that she received.
As a child.
As a child. But did that, first of all, reading that book, what were your feelings seeing your mother so literally exposed as she would be telling that story?
Yeah, I mean, she spoke to me before she even thought about sending the book to the publishers, and she sent it under a different name, under her married name, Jenny Tomlin. Actually, she did it under J. Tomlin. I think she was inspired by J.K. Rowling and the Harry Potter book. She thought, you know, I'll do that, it's got a ring to it. But I think that she was worried about me and worried about compromising me or me being embarrassed. And I just said, Mum, you know, you've got your own story to tell and your own life, and you're entitled to do that. And if you feel like this is something you want to do and you can help, you know, children are innocent and you can't... it's still something that's not talked about.
Yes.
It's still something that makes people uncomfortable. But the more people talk about it and the more people address it, the more children will be helped.
Yes.
It is still going on.
And what's extraordinary about your mother's story, and indeed your story too, is that she married an abusive man.
Yeah.
And you lived on the run, literally, because your father was prevented from coming to see you, but did, nonetheless, sought you out. So you literally lived like nomads. You know?
Yeah, we did. We were gypsies. We moved everywhere. We had panic buttons. And my mum tried so hard to not go for that destructive relationship. And when she first met him, he wasn't like that. But certain things happened, he changed, and he did become abusive. And I think that her main priority was just protecting me. And I think she felt sad because he was obsessed with her, but he didn't, you know, love me, he wasn't interested in me. And as a result, I was sometimes used to hurt her because he knew I was the closest thing to her. And I just think that...
in what way do you mean that? How?
Well, you know, he kind of, you know, my first memory of my dad is him hanging me over a balcony by my ankles, and that's the first memory. I was about 2. And you know, he's got, obviously, you know, he had a lot of problems, and you know, at the end of the day, though, my mum says a very true thing. She says, you know, you can walk around and use it as an excuse to become a victim. You don't have to be a victim. It's, you know, it's an attitude that you give out, and people can treat you like that. You have to choose to, you know, be the victor, not the victim.
Yes.
And that's what, you know, I decided to do. And she was the one who said, you know, go for your dreams, do what you want to do. Don't use it as an excuse to do nothing.
So in a sense, what you decided to do was to escape from that, wasn't it? I mean, that's what showbiz was about, I suppose, standing on a stage being somebody else.
Well, yeah, definitely. and also just to, you know, it looks so safe when things are glossy and... you know, the colours are so vivid and everybody looks so perfect. I know that, you know, the business is not perfect, but to be able to make something that looks perfect every day, I thought, well, that's for me. That's what I'd like to do. That's my escapism.
Has it had any kind of effect on you, though, as a person? I mean, any long-term effect? I mean, for instance, I mean, you're being in that kind of relationship with a father who didn't love you. Has it affected your attitude toward men, for instance? I mean, do you feel this?
I think it could have done, but I think because my mum was such a strong woman, and because she is very open, and she's, you know, she's a very vivacious woman. She's been quite wild. There's not anything I can't talk to her about, and we deliberately, you know, we did speak about the sort of men that I would go for, and I've had failed relationships, but it's not been because of anything to do with my dad so much. I mean, obviously there's that gap there, and you do have that sadness there, but you do also think, well, that's not a man's job, you know, a lover in my life, that's not his job to fulfill that sadness, but at the same time he does need to take it on board.
Yes.
And I mean, there was one relationship where I thought, uh-oh, you're starting to be kind of like my dad, I've got to walk away. And it broke my heart, but I walked away. And so, you know, knowledge is power, as they say, and
yeah,
I walked away.
In that sense, it's a useful experience, but I mean, you were able to actually see what's coming, perhaps, as you did in that sense.
Yeah, you sense certain things, and you just sort of think, you know, you see the signs.
Yes. Well, next up, so what's happening next?
So next, I'm going to be doing a new album. I'm going to be doing some fabulous campus Christmas songs.
Campus Christmas?
Campus Christmas. I thought that would be right for tonight. And there was a link there somewhere. Weak link, but there you go. No, I'm going to do a new album, really sort of uplifting disco classics, kind of like a modern Donna Summer thing, because I did a song on the radio, did a cover of her song, and it did so phenomenally well that I thought I'm going to do that again. Also the best of the ballads. I've got some TV stuff that I want to do, and they're also talking about turning my mum's book into a film.
Are they?
Yes.
And what do you mean that?
I would want to play my grandmother.
Your
my mum's
grandma?
mum, yeah.
Because you said it's about your mum as a child.
Yes.
So, yes.
And she was a very weak woman.
Your grandma?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And I think as well, it's easy to walk away now from certain situations, but back then it wasn't easy to walk away.
It wasn't.
No, and a lot of people said to me, but would you be able to distance yourself and do the part? And I just think because I would so want the story to be told, you know, as truthfully as possible, I'd want to do the part justice, and I'll audition with everybody else, and if they think I'm the best person, hopefully I'll do the job for her.
Oh, right, good on you.
Yeah.
OK, and your English harem goes out,
yes, 27th. On the 27th.
That's right.
Yes.
And it's well worth the look. I enjoyed it
definitely
very
is.
much indeed.
Yeah.
Martine McCutcheon, thank you very much indeed.
Thank
Martine
you.
McCutcheon.